Hi, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Across My Desk, a pop culture podcast hosted by me, Holden Smith. I'm joined today with one of my very good friends, Jason. You guys know him online as at Jason Sappy. He is a pop culture aficionado, a deep diver, and just someone that I am obsessed with. So thank you so much for joining me.
Are you kidding? Thank you for having me, Holden. I love you, and I can't wait to do this episode.
First of all, I need to give you guys some context. Jason was one of the people that really inspired me to start this show. And so it feels only right that he is the first guest. Let's just get into it. So, the way this show is structured is we're going to start out with the things that came across my desk this week in pop culture. And the first thing we are going to get into is the Halsey versus Anthony Fantano beef. Are you familiar? Well, I know you know Halsey, but
Well,
do
of
you
course I know.
know, but are you familiar with Anthony Fantano?
I know that he is a music critic. He is a little controversial of a figure. He says what he means, and he stands by it.
That is extremely accurate. Like, that is his bag. And about a year and a half ago, he reviewed Halsey's album, The Great Impersonator. He gave it a one. And he was like, this is really bad. She has a horrible case of the main character syndrome. These are messy demos that are unfinished, and I just am not gonna tell anyone to go listen to this. And the Halsey fans were up in arms. This was like really big on Stan Twitter. I don't think it like permeated the mainstream at all. As music critics tend to do these days on social media, like the stans go after them, especially if they give a bad review.
If there's one group you don't want to piss off, it is Stan Twitter. Stan Twitter will ride or die for their people. And I am thankful that I never grew up on Stan Twitter because it is a messy space to be a part of. So you guys got to be careful. If you're going to go for anyone, do not go for a fandom.
That is like such good advice because seriously, I don't think anyone understands how horrible the blowback can be. There's doxing, there's adding, there's mentioning. And so that happened a lot when this first review dropped. And Halsey did catch wind of it. However, it was about 2 years of silence, I would say, or a year and a half of silence, to the point where then a Halsey stan said, why are people still talking about this review? I didn't know people were still talking about it. To be so completely honest, like it was silent from both parties. And someone just decided to throw a match to a dying flame. And Anthony immediately said it's because people care more about this review than the album itself. And Halsey did not like that.
Oh my God, that is so messy. So basically, it had died down, and then this Stan was like, let me restart the fire, basically.
It's confusing because it did die down, but he was like, OMG, why are people still talking about it? Like he
The
was being
Stan
messy.
was.
Yeah, the Stan was. He was like, why do people still care? And Anthony Fantano saw an opportunity to strike and he took it. Unfortunately for him, then Halsey saw the opportunity to strike back. And she saw it probably within 30 minutes and was like, anything that I did on that album was more impactful than anything you'll ever do in your life. That was the sentiment of her response.
And do you agree?
Here's the thing, like, I find it very interesting because Halsey is actually known to respond to critics. I mean, this is something that she did back in the day. Do you remember when she told the basement of Pitchfork to be hit by a plane? And the Pitchfork office is actually in One World Trade. So, so Halsey, this is not new for her to come for someone who has critiqued her work. However, I think that this back and forth didn't need to happen anyway. And Anthony said, it's true. I'm tired of people pretending that this album is good. I didn't like it. It's bad. And that's just the truth, which I think is a really hard stance for a critiquer to take because everyone is open to their own interpretation and their own opinion.
I think it's so interesting. We live in such a unique era of time where people are able to critique an artist and then 30 minutes later, the artist can respond. It is like such a weird time that we are living in. And this happens so often where music artists will get in beef with like people on the internet over their work. And it's just, you got to be careful now. It's a really different game. I mean, social media has really transformed the music industry in like a million different ways, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. I think it like lends itself to a bigger and greater conversation because someone like the Swiftologist finds himself in similar positions. He actually did a video where he talked about Anthony Fantano and Halsey Gate because he actually liked the album. He liked Halsey's album and he's friends with Anthony Fantano and said, listen, I don't agree with what Fantano said. I think there was a problem with the way that he came about critiquing this album and speaking about it in terms that were very like final, saying that this album is just objectively bad. And I think that's a really hard stance to take when you're a critic. And that is something that the Switchologist tends to not do. But on top of that, I think the music industry really is relying on creators nowadays more so than traditional journalists. And that adds another layer of complexity to this because I'm sure you've faced this as well when a music label reaches out and they talk about promoting an artist. And we saw this just happen with Lizzo trying to promote her own music. Like the industry is so messed up that creators are kind of a backbone of the way that albums are being promoted these days.
I mean, I think that's 100% true. It's very interesting how people don't realize how much of the virality of the music industry can just be like can be conducted with a budget, and like a bunch of influencer marketers. It's kind of crazy. And I think you mentioned the Swiftologist. I honestly ride or die for him. He like that's the thing is he is controversial, but he will defend his takes with like evidence. And I don't agree with a lot of them, but I do appreciate how like he articulates it. It's like the battle of the online, chronically online music reviewers.
Yes, so that brings me to the next point of this is basically like Halsey then went on kind of like a Twitter rampage saying that Fantano was kind of this like 4chan raised bully who actually has no place in the reviewing industry. He is just a YouTuber, like a 4 clicks YouTuber. And Fantano saw this, and his PR team got on it very quickly because he did an exclusive interview with Variety. And he basically said, I am singular in the sense that I am the most important music reviewer of the online age.
And it's just like, as a music reviewer, you just can't say that. You can't just claim that you have a platform, especially as someone who critiques other people's platforms. You gotta like walk the walk.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because like there's so many people that are in this space and it's even though he's been doing it for a very long time and he has a lot of credibility, he's worked with a lot of artists. He just interviewed Olivia Rodrigo, who is a fan of his, saying stuff like that, it digs a hole deeper than what has already happened. Halsey stands are already mad at you. And then you go and do this interview where you say that you deem yourself to be the best in an industry that is so saturated and has so many great personalities. I love so many music reviewers that I think it's like unfair to give yourself that crown. And I don't know, it's just really messy. Like this is a diva off of proportions that are confusing to me. Like we just live in a world that lends itself to this and it's strange.
And it's just like, why does there need to be a best also? Like, no one, I don't see like people out here in other industries claiming that they're the best at what they do. It's like,
And if they do, they get a lot of hate for it.
yeah, they shouldn't. No one should ever, anyone who's claiming that they are the best probably isn't the best. Ooh, hot
Yep,
take.
gag that. I think that's like hard because it is interesting that one, he's making that statement to Variety and giving them an exclusive, and that's how he's kind of responding. He's making it seem like he's taking the high road over a music artist that is signed, that is established, to make her feel as if she is like punching low at him. I don't know. Like it just seems weird that like he's the one that's going above and beyond, and I think it's to make a statement that he is better than this Twitter fight, even though he engaged in it and started it.
I mean, it's just like music reviewers are not above, they're just stan Twitters with like an email. I
Yeah.
mean, like, really, what is the big difference between a music reviewer and a stan Twitter account?
I mean, here's the thing.
Something
They
to think
all
about.
No, I agree with that in the sense that like they all come from that place. Like if you are someone that is a journalist in the entertainment industry these days, as someone who's a millennial or in Gen Z, like you definitely were on Stan Twitter. You definitely had a fan account. Not if not Stan Twitter, you had a Stan account on Instagram. Like you were in a fandom that made you care enough to the point where you wanted to spread your faves agenda.
I'm sure he had a fan account for
Yeah.
someone. I'm sure he did. And I'm sure he wants to act like he couldn't because he can't put someone up on a pedestal. But, like, we all have our favorites. We all have blind spots, I think. And I think if
Yes.
you're trying to say, like, you can't really, I mean, like, I don't believe that anyone is fully unbiased and, like, doing their whole music reviewing thing. Like, I can say for myself, I know that I can never review a Taylor Swift album because I will always just say it's the best. When,
Yeah.
that might not be the reality, but I will just defend her till the day I die. So,
Which is so fair, and I think the Swiftologist does a good job of saying, like, I have a bias towards this artist. He just did it with Olivia Rodrigo. He was like, I love Olivia, and like, since I started loving her, like, I have a bias towards her, and I'm okay admitting that. And I think that is the test of a true music reviewer. Can you admit that you have a bias towards your faves and still give a thoughtful critique?
and that's real journalism right there.
Yes, that is real journalism. So where do we stand on this? Like, I don't even know where to go from here. I want to say, like, I don't hate this album, and I was able to listen to it before it came out. So I listened to all of it without having the backlash that it received upon release. And I was like, oh, this is a good Halsey album. And then I left it there. So I think like I feel like this has been so blown out of proportion that I want it to die down.
Right. And it's just like, I don't know. I just sometimes can't do stand Twitter fights. I just can't
Yeah.
ever. And I like Halsey. I don't want her to get involved in a stand Twitter fight, girl. This is
It's
about
just
you.
hard because it's like it's a stan Twitter fight, but it's between like two very established people, and it like cheapens their brand, both of their brands, to
Like,
engage themselves in this back and forth.
why are we on stand Twitter, Halsey? Get it off
Like,
there. It's giving
yeah.
Rita Ora.
Oh, oh no.
Gag
The one Rita Ora fan's gonna be mad at you for saying that.
Okay. Sorry.
So moving on, I need to say, like, I actually rewrote the show to include this because something really crazy happened right before I pressed record. And that is that Club Chalamet was involved in a physical altercation at Paris Fashion Week because she was waiting for Connor's story outside of his hotel. And I just want to start from the beginning, I guess. Are you familiar with Club Chalamet, Miss Club?
No, I mean, first of all, that is a sentence that would kill a pilgrim. And I would love to know, because I know about Club Chalamet from you posting about Club Chalamet. So, for someone who's never heard of Club Chalamet, like, walk me back to the beginning and explain it like I'm 5 years old.
I'm so glad you asked that. I know way more about the 60-year-old woman than like anyone should ever. In 2018, she saw Call Me by Your Name and her entire life changed. I mean, like so many of us can say that. And she's so real for saying that. But she walked out of that theater and immediately started a Timothy Chalamet stan account. And it got to a point where, at first she was celebrating his achievements as he was on the come up, but then it got a little parasocial, a little weird. Some could say it was always like that from the beginning. I'm gonna say that. But when more people started to catch wind of this, they were like, this is strange. And I think it came to a head like during the Renaissance tour when him and Kylie Jenner made their public debut together.
Oh,
And
so recent.
yes, and she like freaked out to the point where she had to take a social media break. She went on Twitter Spaces and did a 1+ hour long rant about how he should not be with her. She calls her Slurpee because she is sugary, she's bad for him, she's artificial, as opposed to Lily Rose Depp, who was his ex-girlfriend, who she called Champagne. And anyway, so that was the Timothy part. And
So is it
recently,
that is it that she wants to be with him? Like, just for context.
that is a great
Or
question because she maintains that she does not want to. But she will also then go on Instagram and Twitter and compliment his look. She has called him sexy before. And it's a little suspect, I would say, because she is deflecting and saying that she wants to report on him from an objective standpoint as just a fan of his work. But the posts negate that.
But also, what I will say is good for her for really like plucking him out back and Call Me by Your
Yeah.
Name. Obviously, he was an actor then. He was like that was like his breakout, but like he was not who he is today. And she saw that potential. So that's impressive.
We have to give credit where credit is due. I am so glad that you are doing that because at the end of the day, like she does recognize talent. Like she has had multiple other Stan accounts, if you could believe it. She had a Michael Fassbender Stan account and then he got married to Alicia Vikander and then she dropped him. Same thing happened to Timmy. Like he got really serious with Kylie and then she dropped him and moved to Connor's story this year. That's how we got into the situation that happened today.
I
Because
mean, can
she
you
picked a
blame
new muse.
her? Can you blame her?
I mean, I will say, like, she is picking the talent, right? Like, she has an eye for talent. She's picking a star in the making. He's already a star, but he's a relatively new one. And She wanted to pursue her dream of having a stan account for Connor's story. However, she is coming up against a group of people that no one should ever mess with. The heated rivalry stands.
And they're new. They're fresh on the scene, by the way.
Yeah, they are not tired. Have you had any interactions with a heated rivalry stan, like on the internet?
Honestly, like it didn't come. I haven't registered the fact that there is a fandom just because it's so new that like I
Yeah,
feel like fandoms need like at least 5 years to marinate
you
and
would
then
think.
they get like insane. Like that, like the Stranger Things fandom. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that
yeah.
one, that's like one of the worst in my opinion. They're crazy.
For TV shows, I would say Stranger Things is definitely up there. And the thing that shocked me about Heated Rivalries, it all happened so fast. Like the
Yeah.
show blew up, and the people that ride for this show, I mean, they are going to fight tooth and nail, as we will see, to protect their leading men. And so Connor, of course, is an it boy. He's at Fashion Week right now, and he's going to the YSL show. There's a crowd of people outside of his hotel. Club Chalamet, now Story Glory, Miss Story, happens to be in Paris this week, and she decided to go stand outside of his hotel to get a real photo of him and see him in real life. However, because of the fact that she rebranded, people are aware of her antics with Timothy, so the heated rivalry stands are on lookout for her. That is the dangerous part
And
because
they know
they,
what she looks like, by the way.
yes, because the Wall Street
Okay.
Journal did, you can Google her, but like recently the Wall Street Journal did a piece on her and they did a full photo shoot.
Like a positive article on her.
I wouldn't say positive. It's
But
like
like it
hard
was
because like
like, hey, we want to interview you and do a photo shoot. Oh my God. This woman is like A-list, it sounds like.
something like that. It's hard because like they definitely are making fun of her in the article, but like she took it as like, oh my God, I'm in the Wall Street Journal. One thing about her is like criticism does not faze her. Like she will post through it all. And you kind of have to. You have to have thick skin if you're going to be on the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
So she is waiting outside this hotel. Another Stan sees her and starts telling everyone around who she is, saying she's a stalker of Connor's story and a past stalker of Timothy Chalamet. This is the retelling done by Miss Club. Connor's story exits the hotel. Club Chalamet feels a yank on her backpack, someone calling her a bitch and a stalker in her ear, yelling at her. She said, I don't know what to do. I don't know this girl. What does she do? She takes her phone out, whips it out, and starts taking photos of the girl. So she
Club
can post
Chalamet
them.
does this.
Yeah, so that way she can like dox this girl who pulled her backpack. And so a couple hours later, Club Chalamet writes a 5 paragraph essay detailing what happened from her perspective and posting a photo of this girl being like, who is this freak?
You, what the hell? And this woman's 60?
Yeah, she is 60. And the real kicker about all of this is like the call is coming from inside the house. Like, why are you guys fighting? You're both there to like inappropriately be around Connor's story at a time where like all he needs to do is get into a car. Like this culture of like waiting and camping out for celebrities is so horrible. This parasocial behavior, and it's like both of these women are doing the same thing.
I completely agree on that. Like, just because you can go see a celebrity IRL, like from 15 feet away, doesn't mean you need to. You know? Like,
Yeah, especially when you're at the hotel when they're just trying to get from point A to point B, it just feels like so strange that like you're trying to police someone else's stand behavior when at the end of the day, I feel like none of it is actually okay.
none of it. None
And
of it.
seriously, and that's a message, like that is a message to the stands out there, like you have to be respectful. Like there is a
Because
line in the sand.
you know that like half your audience is stands. So,
No, I
stands, listen up, be respectful.
you have to be nice. And it's like when someone's safety, like a person's safety is in jeopardy, like that's where I think the line has to be in the sand. And so Club Chalamet details that she explains that like she's not in the wrong. Someone came and kind of physically harassed her. So the person who did it actually saw Club Chalamet's tweet and quoted it and said, Hi, I was actually trying to pull you back because you were rushing the barricade as Connor was coming out of the hotel, and I have multiple witnesses, eyewitnesses, and security that will back me up.
Okay, I mean, like, sure, that might have been true, but it's like, who are we gonna believe? I'm gonna believe none of you. I
Yeah,
don't,
like,
none of you have any credibility in this situation, so I'm gonna just say it's all false.
thank you so much for having a rational take on this. I was like, how can you believe, like, both accounts? Like, of course, there's two sides to every story, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. But in this case, like, these are going to be two extremely different retellings of the same story, and the truth is so far in the middle and so far away from what these people believe actually happened that, like, we're never gonna know.
Baby, the truth is not in the middle. The truth is elsewhere. Like, there is no, I do not, oh my God, no. You cannot trust a stan to give you an accurate retelling of a situation.
I
It's
agree with that. And I think, like, at the end of the day, like, what did we learn from this? It's that you can have your thoughts and opinions on Club Chalamet if you're a heated rivalry stan, but I think we have to draw the line at, like, being in a place that you could endanger these people that you love so much.
I'm gonna need to see a visual. Like, bad. I need a
I
visual.
I will show you. Another thing that I need to say, piggybacking off of the visual comment, is Club Chalamet was wearing full protective gear. She, of course, is of older age, and she was wearing a big sun hat to protect herself from the UV rays because Paris is right now in a heat wave. And she also had an SPF protective N95 mask and glasses. So for someone to clock Club Chalamet in person when she is covered head to toe with 0.5% of her skin showing is someone who is too online. And that's coming from me.
Is body tea? Like, is that how? I'm serious.
I'm sorry, I'm not okay that you just asked that. Um, I don't know how they knew. Because I saw the photo of her with the N95, and I'm like, I would never be able to pick her out of a crowd. And I talk about
Does
her all
Club
the time.
Chalamet have like a booty or something? And like everyone's like, oh, there she is.
She has like this really blunt lob, but like you couldn't even see it because her hair was like in the hat.
Like on Anna Wintour.
Yeah, but like a little longer. So all of that to say, Club Chalamet and this other girl are over party. Like, I cannot because we're never gonna get to the bottom of this. However, it was so important that I needed to bring this up and talk about it in detail because I found it to be so crazy that we are in a world where Club Chalamet is getting into a physical altercation with a heated rivalry stan while waiting for Connor's story to come out of his hotel.
I think like if we've learned one thing today, it's that stans like need a reality check.
Thank you. That is the biggest takeaway from this episode thus far, and I hope you internalize that if you feel like you are a stan and have done some things in the past that maybe you're not proud of.
It's okay. Doxing, guys. I'm
It's
looking
not
at you,
okay.
K-pop.
Oh, okay. So moving on, the next part of the show is when I ask my guests what came across their desk. This could be a pop culture moment, a meme, something that really intrigued them in pop culture in the last week. So Jason, what came across your desk this week?
This week, the Jimmy Awards came across my desk. If you are a theater kid, this is like your Super Bowl. This means a lot to you, but it probably means nothing to other people. But you know, people are going to be talking about this for a little bit because there's always like a big breakout star. For those who don't know, let me give some background. It is, I might butcher the title, but the National High School Theater Awards called the Jimmies. So basically, every theaters across the country will like be eligible to compete in a competition, and then they like put forward their performers to a regional competition in their area, and then two people in each region get picked to be flown to New York for 10 days, and then they practice and they do this whole performance, and it's called the Jimmies. And then there's finalists at the Jimmies, and then there's two winners, one boy, one girl.
Thank you
And
so much.
guys, the careers that this shit has launched, this is important. Like, people, like, you get plucked and you're like, all right, national tour. All right, Broadway. Like, it's big.
It's a
So,
real deal, and I have to say, I think like more people need to be paying attention to the Jimmys as a whole because some stars that we see not just in theater emerge from there. I mean, some recent winners, Renee Rapp, Andrew Barth Feldman, two people that are in TV and movies, and someone who was a finalist, Antonio Cipriano, who was just in Off Campus.
it is big this year because, as some of you know, there is a Spring Awakening revival coming to Broadway. And let's just say, all of our main cast, they were at the Jimmys this year. They were at the Jimmys this year. You will see them plucked from the Jimmys. People were saying it was going to be Jack Wolf. I don't believe it. It's going to be newcomers from the Jimmys. You watch. And you know who was in the last Spring Awakening? Leah Michelle, Jonathan Groff.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for spilling. The second I saw that Spring Awakening revival, I gasped and I threw my phone because at that point I will be an NYC resident. So I will be there. An important thing to add is that they made it very clear that they are doing an open casting in the sense that they don't have this idea of like who's already going to play the main characters.
And they better be for real this time.
I
Because
know,
they
seriously.
did, remember the Dolly Parton musical bullshit?
No, oh my God, explain.
They did an so a lot of times this open casting thing is just marketing. So sometimes
Yeah.
they'll do it online. They'll be like, everyone do open casting, like submit your tapes. And then they just go with someone who's like a well-known Broadway person. So sometimes they lie.
I will say I have to believe that they are being truthful with this because they understand the power of what this can do with an open casting call because it is such a beloved show. And I don't know, I am really excited about the idea of some newcomers like getting this huge opportunity.
Yeah, agree. They need it. Like I love new faces. And I think that I think that now just the entertainment industry as a whole is really going to start leaning into new faces because
Yes.
Obsession, Indie, hi,
Love. Yeah.
amazing, future A-list, Connor Story, Hudson Williams, plucked from nothing, and now boom, A-list. I think we're just like starved for new faces. So
That
I
is
hope
such
we
a
see a
great
lot more
point.
faces.
No, I was gonna say that was such a great point. We're in a world where it felt like for a long time the same like five, six, seven actors and actresses have just been recycled. However, there's so many projects that it's like there needs to be a way to introduce new faces in projects that matter, that do well, and we've seen it a lot recently. I mean, having Heated Rivalry really blow up to the extent that it did was boded really well. Then we had this happen in Obsession and other things that have come out this year where I think studios are really taking note of the fact that the audience wants new talent so bad, and what better way to really do that than start picking people from Broadway who are trained in theater. That means that you have really good instincts. I think that's like the biggest difference between someone who's just a screen actor versus someone who is, on stage actor who grew up in theater is that they just have like really good instincts because they have to do the same show over and over and over again and they have to understand how to captivate an audience even if like they're not feeling it or if something goes wrong like it's all live.
I completely agree. I think theater kids are just like some of the most talented people in the industry. My three favorite vocalists of our generation: Ariana Grande, Rachel Zegler, Renee Rapp.
Thank you so
Theater
much for
kids.
saying that. Yes.
And people are going to come for me for that, but I stand by it. Those are the three best.
I mean, Ariana Grande is in a league of her own, obviously, but I mean, Rachel Zegler, I'm sure you watched the last Culturistas Culture Awards. Her Fame is a Gun cover, unbelievable. And then Renee is such a powerhouse. I've seen her twice live. It's every single time, like, I don't think her voice can get any better. And then it's just she is belting at 100 the entire show, and the things that she can do with her voice are like otherworldly.
So impressive. So the rise of the theater kids are coming.
I feel it. Okay, so what else are you bringing across my desk?
Obviously, I had to bring You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. Guys, this is the best three album run ever. This album just fully exceeded my expectations. And thank God, because I've been waiting for 2.5 years for this. And honestly, worth the wait. I just like, oh my gosh, she has just hit. I genuinely, like, I listened to it all the way through. And you know what I've said about this album? This is one of the only albums that I can name the entire track list in order, and it's only been out for like a week. Like that really speaks to the concept of the album.
Yes, I was just gonna say, like, because it has a beginning, middle, and end, and it has an entire narrative arc, I think that helps really put everything into context. So that way you can remember where it starts and where it ends and what comes in between. I love this record. I think it is unbelievable. And I just have to say, like, it's really, really hard for someone like Olivia, who was thrust into the A-list overnight, pretty much with driver's license, to deliver time and time again because you have the entire world watching from the start. And after this album, it felt like she took a little bit of extra time, and thank God this was not just an album full of love songs. I think that that's what I was like most afraid of in this relationship with Louis Partridge and how she started describing this project from the beginning was it was just kind of like a collection of love songs that she had put together because she was in this relationship. And then once life happened and they broke up, she went back to the drawing board, she wrote some more songs, and then she went back and tweaked some of the OG songs that she had written to help it fit the story that she was trying to tell. And I think that she did it so flawlessly that it's on repeat. Like it's so good. And it is the top contender for me for Album of the Year at the Grammys.
And the thing is, I'm just so bummed about the Grammys because I just know that she won't win, even though I believe she truly deserves to. And that makes me really sad because she deserves it so bad. This album, I feel like she understands because she knows a lot of like old rock artists from like the 70s and 80s. She understands the concept of like a record, having
Yes.
like a physical record that you can play and listen all the way through. Because I think in the era of streaming, we kind of got used to this whole like, I can skip around, I can like play whatever songs whenever I want. And I think she's really finding this art that we've lost so much in the music industry about no, this is an album, it's a story, you listen to it start to finish. And I think that's like really lost the music industry. Look at me. I should start reviewing. That was pretty insightful.
That was really good. No, and seriously, like she picked and chose the references, I think, really carefully because there was a lot of people that thought that she was just going to go into this like big pop punk rock record. And this is not that because it takes inspiration from a lot of like 80s synth pop, a lot of like new age, new wave pop bands. I mean, The Cure was one of the biggest people on kind of her mood board for who she was trying to reference. Of course, she also has the Robert Smith collaboration, but like sitting in the studio and working with someone who was in the industry in such a different time, I think gave her a lot of clarity in what she was doing. Because it's someone who's not used to the streaming era. It's someone who's not used to being able to like play songs on even an iPad. I'm sorry, but like The Cure was around when you had to hold a tangible thing, as you said, and you have to craft a story to keep people engaged because otherwise they're not going to listen. And when she, I think, realized what she was trying to get to in the end, she was able to put all the pieces together so well. And I will say, I was actually really surprised by the way her and Dan Nigro continue to keep things fresh production wise. We've heard a lot of elements that we haven't heard before in her music. And I think when producers and artists work together for a prolonged period of time, it becomes predictable. And this was not predictable.
I agree. And I think it's also at the same time, like, it feels like her signature music, but it's different in the same way. I
Yes.
can't, like, she hit it perfectly. And it's insane. And you know what I loved so much about this is I thought the album rollout was done so well. One of my favorite things that she did was the New York Times interview before releasing the album, and I listened to that. And to hear her explain it before the actual album came out, I got so much context that the first time I listened to it, I just understood it so much more? And I really hope that's something that artists do going forward instead of like leaving this big surprise for the album release night?
I agree, and I think that she's really positioning herself in a different lane. Like when she's sitting down in these long form interviews, she had never really done a long form podcast before. So to go on podcast and talk for 2 hours with a music journalist and a reviewer, it really kind of allows her to deep dive what she was feeling as she was making the record. And they asked her pretty tough questions, questions that a normal star of her level would refuse to answer, to be quite honest. Like they asked her about Taylor, which I don't think anyone is actually allowed to ask her about because obviously publicists are involved and Taylor's the biggest pop star in the world. But Olivia navigated that extremely well. And I think it really let people into her head for how she was feeling when she was making these songs. And she did that. She did the sit down with Anthony Fantano, not to bring this full circle, but he's someone who is a music reviewer, of course. So she's not doing like a circuit where she felt like she needed to go to the Met Gala. She said that she skipped that on purpose because she doesn't feel like she needs to do all of these promo moves. She just needs to do things that speak to her. She sat down with Zane Lowe and talked for an hour, which a lot of artists do. But I think her focusing really on the work instead of just like these gimmicks to sell records really helped.
Aligned. I completely agree. I think like the Zane Lowe is a perfect example of like an interview that's just like it's probably so exciting for a music artist to get to go on because it's like he asks actual questions about the music.
And I think he does a good job of like keeping things like very positive, very on topic, very on track. A lot of artists feel safe going there. I will say I applaud Olivia for doing Popcast because it got her out of her comfort zone. Not a lot of artists do that. I mean, other artists that I've seen recently do it. I loved when Rosalia did it last year. They asked her a lot of hard questions. Slater did it recently. Addison Rae did it recently. And it's just for people who I think just want to shed that barrier between an artist and the fans to really let them understand the thought process that goes into everything in the music industry.
Right. And next single?
What do you think? Do you want to say it on three?
Yeah,
The second I heard this song, I was like, this needs to be a single. Okay,
me too.
one,
One, two,
two,
three.
three, maggots for
Expectations.
brains. Okay.
It's gonna be expectations.
I love
Watch.
expectations. I love expectations. I heard maggots for brains and I said, I understand why she put out Drop Dead and The Cure because it was like the first song on each side of the album.
Yeah.
But I think Maggots for Brains should have been the third single, like the release day single over Stupid Song, to be honest.
I think just Stupid Song has like the whole like starts sad and then ends like so
Yeah,
upbeat and happy. I do
it's
think it
her
like
structure.
represents it's such a her structure that I think it like is so representative of her sound. And yeah, I I'm so obsessed with it. I listened to it on the way home today. So good. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Literally don't stop. What other songs like really caught your eye? I have like a couple that I wrote down on my short list of like these are songs that stopped me in my tracks.
Me plus you equals heart.
Loved that song.
Love that one. I think that's so good. I think less is gut wrenching. And then like I this doesn't count as a song, but like 30 seconds from the end of Purple into The Cure, that is my favorite part of the entire album. Just like that
Yes.
transition from Purple to The Cure, just frame it. It's so good.
They really took their time in like crafting not just like the story in the lyrics, but the story in the way that the songs flow through one another. And I just really appreciate when artists make art. We are in such a drought of like artists making like so much slop for like a TikTok hit that I'm like, oh my God, like thank God someone's making an album that feels like an album, not to be Harry Styles, but it's an album that feels like an album. No, no, sorry. Sorry to the Harry girls. That was not shade. That was doing a reference to him on the Don't Worry Darling press tour when he said it's a movie that feels like a movie. All of the songs are over 3.5 minutes. No one is making albums like that anymore. Like it's so hard to find, and there are just a few artists that are really holding down this idea of like making a full-length project that makes sense. And Olivia's one of them. And I just like thank you for speaking about less because it made me stop and rewind halfway through. I like heard this lyric of like I could lie and tell you that it's just intrusive thoughts, but you've seen me truly happy, so you know right now I'm not. Really important. I have chills. The fact that she wrote that, and I will say like that song as a whole, that and Begged are like ballads that she could have never written on Sour and Guts because they like include these like really nuanced feelings that I think like it's hard to feel when you're a teenager. And like they include this like back and forth, this like internal struggle that she could not have fathomed when she was writing those other two albums.
I'm just like so happy that with this third album, she's cemented herself as like she's gonna be there forever. She's never leaving the industry. And this really
Yes.
cemented it.
She's already there. I mean, she has a sold out world tour right now. I think that there's definitely room for more dates. Are you going to the Unraveled tour?
I don't have tickets yet, but you know I will be there. And what I'm really
That's how I
curious
feel.
about for this tour is she always picks her openers so well.
Yeah.
And the breakout stars, Chapel Roan, Gracie Abrams, I'm excited to see that happen for another one of her tour openers.
Me too. I think that she has such good taste, just in general, like music taste, that she always knows how to like pick the best people to open because it like feels in tune with what she's making like music wise, but it's also a little different. So she knows that her fans are gonna kind of like grasp onto it. And that's the sign of like such a good artist as well. What do you think that the tour like so obviously she wants to like tell this story on the tour. So like what other songs in her discography do you think that she's gonna like try and throw in there to round out the set list?
I don't know. I kind of hope that like I know she can't do this, but I hope the tour is just like a story, like the album. Like I hope it like goes in order, and then she mixes in like Sour and Gut songs that like fit the same idea. But
I think that she is going to do it that way. I remember her talking to Anthony Fantano actually, and she said that she's trying to kind of like give it that narrative structure. I will say, I would be totally fine if she literally just only sat and played this album. And I rarely say that about an artist and an album. Like, it's that good that I could just be content listening to that and not a single other song of hers.
I completely agree, but you just know that's like just not gonna happen.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, of
unfortunately
course.
impossible, but I would love that. But you know she's gonna do driver's license and like good for you and All American Bitch, which like I love, but I just like I want this album to have a moment. So maybe one day she'll do like a special performance where it's just an album playthrough.
Oh, oh my God, a girl can dream.
Seriously.
I will say, okay, so moving on to our last and final segment. This is called Across My Dash. Of course, the show is presented by Tumblr, and we're going to Tumblrify just for a second. So basically, I'm going to give you this is like a speed round, lightning round of pop culture things, memes, people, places, things that you just have to say if you're going to reblog or shadow ban them and explain why in one sentence or less. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, Avery Cochran's debut album.
Reblog, haven't heard it, and this girl's gonna take over the pop industry. All of you watch. Watch.
I love her so much, and I have to say, I'm shameless plugging here, I'm so sorry. She is posting her snippets of some of these unreleased tracks on Tumblr, and they sound amazing. She's also posting some snippets over on TikTok. Oh my God, she is so good. We actually saw her live together, and unbelievable. Like, the energy in that room, like, you could just tell that she's someone that is going to be a star.
So true. I got to meet like a future A-list pop star, so I feel amazing.
Yes. Oh, love you, Avery, if you see this. Okay, next. Bryce and Zach from Love Island USA.
I think they're cute. And so I'm not watching the show. Maybe I don't have the full context, but from what I've seen, I don't think it's necessarily gay. I think maybe these two boys just love each other and they've found their best friends forever.
I think they're gonna be best friends for life. I will say, like, I am a Brinity stan. I will say I just like don't like Zach separately, but I do think that their bromance is cute. So I am going to allow it. That's why I included it in this because I wanted some reaction to it. And I'm glad that they are taking over the internet just in general because it's kind of major.
So we're letting this bromance slide. Check.
Yes. Okay, next. Olivia Rodrigo's Charity Music Festival.
I love. I don't know how she did this, but I'm so excited. Stevie Nicks, Chapel Rowan, like I'm seated, I'm there.
I applied for pre-sale. I'm gonna try to get tickets. Is there anyone that you wish would be on the set list that wasn't?
That's a good question. Honestly, no. I think she hit it out of the park. I don't know if like I don't know who else she would need to round this out because this is a really well-rounded group, you know?
I agree. There's like someone from every genre. My only wish is like I know her and Addison Rae are friends. And like that would be major, but like beggars can't be choosers. Like this is a stellar
I
lineup
know.
and it like just feels like so thrown together and like random and it's happening so soon that like literally no notes.
And she has so many pop girls on it already, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know what? We can't like we just got to be happy with what we got.
And we're being fed. It's not like it's bad. Like it's
No, it's
actually
so good.
amazing and we would just like I don't know, like it would be nice.
It would.
Next up, we have Lana Del Rey's dad posting a screenshot of a Google search of Lana Del Rey for her birthday.
And see, if I had a famous kid, like, I would do this too. Like, to be able to just, like, Google yourself and, like, a million photos come up, like, let them.
It was a stunning picture. It was actually the Bluebird like single title. It's subliminal messaging. I think this is her way of promoting Stove through her
Love.
father. So you're reblogging.
Reblogging.
Okay. A24 and Google investing in AI for film development.
Shadow ban this to hell, please. Like, I'm so disappointed with A24 on this one.
Same. And it feels so
Like,
like
it's
weird
so
because
unlike them.
yes. I will say, like, Kane Parsons, who just did Backrooms, came out and was like, AI's so dumb, we'll never use it in any of my films. And he's like such a promising young filmmaker that, A24 gave this budget to make this movie. And it's just so sad to see them being like, okay, amazing, you made us so much money, and now we're gonna immediately take this money from Google and start investing in AI for our films. Like, it's so disappointing.
I think they're losing the plot. A24 is so losing the plot.
A24, do better.
We're disappointed.
Okay, next, Harry Styles jogging to his Wembley Stadium show.
Reblog. I love this. That's like so cute. Like it's like he's the kind of person who doesn't realize he's famous. And also, didn't he
Yes.
walk to his SNL show?
Yes. Oh my God. He is like always on foot and he doesn't care, which I think is amazing.
Good.
Like more
He
people need to be
shouldn't.
like that.
I love. I'm so happy for him.
Next, Keke Palmer and Sean Evans romance.
Two of my favorite people in such different ways, genuinely, because Keke Palmer is one of the funniest people ever and most talented actresses ever. And Sean Evans is like a media empire genius. So
Yes.
these two deserve each other. And I'm so
Power
happy for them.
couple.
Power
Power
couple.
couple. Okay. Tom and Zendaya talking about the Zendaya hat theory in Spider-Man press.
Reblog. I love when celebrities are like chronically online. And I'm so happy to know that like Zendaya knows about this. I made a video about it. Maybe Zendaya saw it. Who knows?
We're
It's always
manifesting that. We're speaking
possible.
that into existence because it is like gotten to a point. It's one of those like dumb internet jokes that grows legs and just will never go away. And I think that's why it's so funny because more people just keep adding more fake lore to this. And I can't stop saying like, don't forget to smile or like my hat. I stick by it. Or doing the move where she's like in the last Spider-Man movie press like with Tom Holland where she's like,
I just love when celebrities can laugh at themselves because like someone like
yes,
Zendaya has such a successful career that she knows that like I can laugh at my old self. And that's hilarious. And I love her.
she's so real for that. Okay, and lastly, Katy Perry's new single.
I heard a snippet. I don't hate. It
Okay,
sounds I could get down with it.
amazing.
Katy Perry is camp, okay? And like you gotta lean into the campness of it. So
Amazing. I will say that is the end of Across My Dash and actually the end of the first episode of Across My Desk. Thank you so much for joining me, Jason. Please tell the listeners where they can find you on the internet.
you can find me at Jason Sappy on all platforms. Go watch Digital Footprint and keep watching Across My Desk.
I hope you guys have the best week. Thank you all for listening, and there's more to come soon. So, bye.